I gotta light this thing. I wasn't sure if it was gonna light. I got very small, but it lit. Is it wrong if I say that I like to set things on fire? Before I start talking about my experience with autism, I want to read a poem that I wrote um many years ago. The title of this poem is Sticks. I will admit that I feel pathetic, replaceable, perhaps not worthless, but someplace close, orbiting some dark asteroid that will never reach the sun in a billion years, in a billion worlds. Where does it make me on my own? The tears of undisturbed aches make themselves known. I need to study, so study. No, sitting here is okay too. When did my poem stop making sense? Maybe because this is just how I feel. The thing with being autistic, especially in the Caribbean, I feel like there's a very low tolerance for being different. So when you are different, you really, really feel it in every facet of your life. For me, I felt it at home and I felt it in school as well. I didn't grow up having a lot of friends. I didn't grow up having a lot of community, honestly. I grew up being very isolated, so I spent a lot of my time online actually. I was functionally alone for most of my life. Because you could say that you got people around you, but if they only ever seeing this much of you and you got all of this over here, they only ever seeing this, does that even mean you have company? I don't think so. I started to study people and how they would act because I'm thinking, okay, I'm weird as fuck. I don't have a lot of friends. I'm kind of an outcast in school. On top of that, I had a stutter as well, which I still have to this day. So I started to study people. I was like, okay, what makes me different than you? But I realized that I couldn't quite figure it out. Because the way people would act, it seemed so natural to them. And I didn't have the language or the knowledge to really understand what that meant. But I'll never forget this. This one guy, we were friends actually. Not like we'd have like deep conversations or whatever, but he was pleasant towards me. He got good grades. He was attractive. He used to be talking to gals and stuff. All the other guys liked him too. And I remember, I think I might have asked him like how to be cool or something. And he literally just told me that I'd have to just be myself. When he told me that, I was thinking, I don't know who I am, bro. I was just trying to model myself off the people around me. So much so that I would even like feign attraction towards like girls and stuff. Because I was like, okay, so I need to express my sexuality. Even though I didn't even care, I was like, okay, well, I have to be a guy. I gotta be a man. Yeah. I also wonder like what would have happened if I actually grew up with a sense of like, okay, this is what it's like to have relationships. And I think that's a good segue. I would go to school, then I'd go home, and that's it. I wouldn't do anything else, bro. Besides my homework and studying and whatnot, I just used to be online, and that's it. That's it. I had no outside life. I had no life, basically. I tried to find life within school, and that's why it was so hard whenever I would get rejected from people. And just in general, like, I would try to, be cool with certain people, but it just wouldn't work. It would just be like, oh, what this nigga doing? This nigga weird. And I'll never forget this, actually. It was in a computer lab. I was doing my assignment. I think it was only a couple of us in there. Like, it wasn't like an actual class. It was mostly during like snack time or lunchtime or something. The teacher out of nowhere could tell me I'm minding my fucking business. Mind you, I'm not doing anything. I literally just sitting there. She gonna tell me, I feel like you would be a school shooter. It was shit like that just kept pushing me into this hole of like, I am different. I am fundamentally different than the people around me. Mind you, I didn't even know that I had autism. I didn't know that I was neurodivergent. I just thought that I was awkward, and that was it. My good friend that I'm still friends with now, one day was just like, MJ, you keep telling me about these things that you go through with people and just being social and how you struggle with being, just like a person or whatever. Do you think you might have autism? And I was like, autism? Autism? Damn, maybe. And then I started to really look into it, and I was like, I absolutely have this shit. Okay, I think I'm good now. I started to look into autism, and I was like, okay, I absolutely got this shit. I am this shit. But I think that's a good segue into the dating. The thing about dating when you're autistic, especially when you're autistic and you're coming from a background of never having experienced relationships at all, it means that you will most likely be subjected to some bullshit.
Ever since I got my girlfriend, my life has been great. I don't even hate my job anymore. Despite the strangeness.
Daalen, my favorite lesbian. So when you gotta hook me with me, your fine ass friends, huh?
He does this all the time.
One of them is fine by me. You know I just love that woman, right? Are you high right now? At work is crazy.
I had my first girlfriend, I think I was 21. And I was delighted, bro. I was like, oh my god, finally. And she fine too. Oh my god, finally, bro, finally. And it was good for like a minute. But then I started to get these feelings of like, damn, I kind of feel like you ain't really giving me what I want. And I don't mean that in like a freaky way. I mean more so like affection wise, like just generally. It got to the point where I would literally wait for my girlfriend to compliment me in a time span of like a week. She would give me like one, and I'd be like, damn, nice. I remember one time, one compliment she gave me, it wasn't even a compliment, it was just something that she said she wanted to do to me, and I was like, yes, hell yeah. I didn't sit down and really think about it like, damn, this only feels good because of how rare this is. But again, I didn't have no reference to know what a relationship was supposed to look like. But eventually I did bring it to her, and I was like, yo, I feel like you're not very expressive with your feelings towards me. It makes me feel like you don't like me that much. We fucking broke up. We broke up, babe. In JoJo, Stan users attract each other. Mentally ill people is attract each other, babe. Cause oh my god, babe. I don't even remember what it was with her. Something about anxiety, man. There's always anxiety, bro. Cause mind you, even though this is my first relationship ever, I was doing everything in my power not to mess this up. This might be my only relationship in my entire life. I have to be perfect. A relationship requires two people to come together to make it into a strong bond. One person can't be carrying all the weight because that's just going to put strain on that person. But that was something that I was prepared to do, and that was something that I didn't even know that I shouldn't be doing. Fast forward, me and my ex in a situationship, because of course that's when it started to get toxic. We were in like a field because we was going to like a party or something. At this time we were separated, but still doing situationship shit. And I leaned in to give her a kiss, a little smooch, and then she swerved away from me.
Do something!
And nigga could only take so much, bro. The feeling that gave me, I had to hide it by pretending like I was like, oh, okay, so fine, you wanna be like that? That's okay. Feeling of rejection that I felt, I was just like, bro, why did you do that just now? And then later she told me, she was like, I don't want to do that in public with you because we're not together. And I was just like, damn, I guess that makes sense. Even though we was doing stuff like behind the scenes. I should also mention that the field we was in was very dark, and like there wasn't even people around us for real. I would just accept whatever would happen. Just like, okay, yeah, sure. I feel like I had no grounds to demand better treatment. Because again, I'm coming from a standpoint of I'm not even worth it for real. Like, I'm lucky to even have this. Like, I'm lucky to even have this, to even have somebody that would even though they doing this, even though they doing that, even though I feel like I'm replaceable, I can't do no better. Eventually we separated, like, completely. I actually blocked her. I ain't gonna lie. The shit was getting a little too much for me to handle. But after that relationship, I was like, yeah, but I gotta do better. I gotta do better, but like I gotta lock in, but I gotta lock in, bro. Like, I gotta get my confidence up. You know, I gotta do better. And in the next relationship I entered, it was actually pretty short. It was only for a month, but that was when we actually dated. Because my next relationship was actually a 2-year long situationship. So you're probably thinking, how did I like decrease? Like, how did I get worse from the first one? Well, that's the thing, because I didn't even realize that it was worse, because I was thinking that it was better. And again, like I said, mentally ill people is attract each other. When you get into a relationship, right, you both are neurodivergent people that feel isolated from the world, and you both are trying to depend upon each other for support. That can create a very volatile situation, especially when one of them believes that they have to be a perfect partner. That was me. To me, love meant service and servitude. So I gotta do stuff for you to show you that I love you. I have a commitment, and regardless of how I feel about what might be going on within the relationship, I need to just keep going, keep trotting on. There was so much that was happening that I was just not okay with. But I was like, well, I was in that same cycle of I'm not gonna meet another person that's gonna like me like this. I remember in my head, I would mentally check off all of my trauma every time I would tell her something. It's like, okay, so I told her about this, I told her this, I told her this, because I'm thinking this is how I can show you how to treat me, so you can know how to not hurt me. But it ended up not making a difference, and that's something that I didn't understand. I didn't get that, because it's like I already showed you that I have a history with this sort of stuff. I have a history with, you know, with me overexerting myself and trying to help people, and me getting taken advantage because of that. But the thing is, I wasn't looking out for myself. I wasn't doing it in my first relationship, and I definitely wasn't doing it in my second one. And I actually think that's a good point to talk about loneliness, just in general. Like, Kid Cudi, Day and Night, that shit is, I got that tattooed on my spine. On my literal bone, I got the lyrics tattooed. Being a loner and being lonely and shit is not something that you necessarily is asked for. Nobody is really asked to be lonely. It's something that gets stamped on you, and then you just gotta figure out how to deal with it. For me, I tried to deal with it by reaching out and trying to get into a relationship, because I'm thinking, bro, this is kind of suffocating me. Like, I can't, I low-key am starting to internally suffer a little bit, just a little bit. But as the years crept on, and as the feeling of loneliness got stronger and stronger and stronger, I started thinking, I'm not gonna lie, actually, I don't know if I even want to be here, to be frank, because I feel like I don't got a connection to nobody. Loneliness and the desperation to get out of that loneliness will put you in dangerous situations, but because that's how I ended up in that situationship, because I was just lonely as fuck, bro. And even during that situationship, there were periods of time where we were like separated. And I'm thinking, okay, I need to actually lock in. Let me try to talk to people. Nothing. And I just took that as evidence of, I literally cannot do no better than this. So why am I even trying? Why am I even bothering with this shit, In getting out of my last relationship and realizing that it was highly emotionally abusive, I had to learn how to appreciate myself for once. Because the lesson that was being presented towards me, but I wasn't picking up on, was you need to love yourself. Because if you don't, this is going to continue again and again and again. If you ever put somebody before yourself in that context of a relationship, it's gonna backfire really bad. And I really struggled with that because I thought that that's what love was. I thought love was putting things to the side, forgiveness and all of that. That's not what love is. And what helped me to realize what love actually is to compare it to my friends and my family that actually treated me good. If anybody telling you, oh, well, love has its up and downs, listen, babe. Of course, we're all people. We all got stuff going on. You ain't gonna always be fully aligned with the people that is in your life. But if you feel like shit around the person, babe, it's probably not good, bro. If you always arguing with them, if you always gotta have conversations talking about your feelings and explaining shit all the time, 24/7 and whatnot, if you can't just be normal and just hang out with somebody and feel at ease, at peace, if you always gotta be monitoring the shit that you saying and whatnot, that don't sound like love. That sound like a hostage situation, frankly. That sounds uncomfortable. Love ain't supposed to be uncomfortable, B. That's the bottom line. And if you autistic and you lonely, the best thing I could tell you is learn to deal with that shit, B. Genuinely. Because if you get into a relationship and you still got that void within you that you're trying to fill with another person, you about to get hurt. Even though my relationships in my life have been kind of ass, I'm grateful that I haven't met worse people. And I actually have met worse people that if I got into a relationship with them, I would have gotten even more fucked up. Because some people will see your desperation, they'll see that as a weakness, and they'll try to exploit you. Because it's like, you deserve respect, babe. You deserve respect. You deserve to be a person. Because you are a person.
You almost started closing.
Yes, Mom.
Can I say stop calling me that?
So, huh?
Right now that's Darren.
Who?
Daryl the janitor in the cellar. Head down there and let me talk to him.
This is overtime, right?
Darren, what's your stress, man? Are you locked up, eh? You want maternity leave? Alright, man, I ain't no problem. Just turn the lights back on, please.
Down here stink, babe.
Based on my studies and my scholarship, I believe that a healthy relationship is a bond between two or more people in which you express mutual love, admiration, and respect. Yeah, there you go. Simple. Of course, it can be more complicated than that, but I don't know. If you know you lonely, and especially if you got autism, especially in the name of Jesus, do not try to get into a relationship thinking that will fix you, because it won't. You need to ask yourself the question of, what are you willing to do to keep a relationship? Because the answer should never be like ruining yourself, exploiting yourself, putting yourself second. Because if you're doing that, then my nigga, I promise you, whenever you get out of that bad relationship, you're gonna think, damn, I could have not done that. And it's not to victim blame. It's just to say that you don't have to go through that. You don't have to. A relationship will never fix you. Never that. Never that. Never that. It'll never fix you. Never fix you. It's almost done burning. So I could just show off the nails that I got right now, cause I'm sure people are gonna ask. I do them myself. I go on Pinterest and then I find images of like different nails that I like, and then I just copy it. So yeah, I mean some of them. Sometimes I do like a little unique thing, but yeah. Listen, this nail polish, got it from Dollarama. Alright? I don't be spending money, B. I'm saving. I'm hustling, B. I'm on a budget. I'm locked in. I'm in the trenches. I'm getting rich. Stand by me. I'm trying to my labor. I'll be gone. Anyway, that's all I got. Bye. Turn this shit off.